People have always had a special relationship with all sorts of animals. Some people keep fish around, feeding them once a day and cleaning the tank every week. Others have dogs that need feeding twice a day, regular walks, and lots of attention. I'm going to teach you a little bit about how to take care of a different animal, one that is as challenging to care for as it is majestic, massive, and intelligent. Today, you're going to learn how to take care of an elephant. In order to teach you this, I'm going to need some help from my friends Rosie and Opal, two retired circus elephants that I've gotten to know pretty well over the past few years. Together, the three of us will walk you through the daily routine of caring for one of these amazing creatures. They are both female Asian elephants, members of the species Elephas maximus, not African elephants, Loxodonta africana. There are a lot of ways you can tell them apart. For example, you can see that Rosie and Opal both have no tusks, whereas an African female would. We'll talk about a few other differences between them as we go. Rosie and Opal aren't too big as far as elephants go. They only weigh 8,000 pounds each. An African male could easily weigh thousands of pounds more. With all of that weight on their bodies, they are prone to all sorts of injuries. They both have nerve damage to their front left leg. It's damage to the nerve running over their shoulder blades, which is called suprascapular nerve damage, and it prevents them from being able to bend that joint properly. One of the more noticeable problems that they've developed is that Rosie has a problem with her trunk. She has something called a paresis of her trunk, which means she can't use all of the muscles in it, which means she always needs a little bit more attention. Let's take a look at a day of elephant care, one job at a time. The day of an elephant handler starts pretty early, because elephants don't sleep too much. In the wild, they sleep as little as 4 to 6 hours a day, spending the rest of the time gathering food. Here, they sleep a little longer because we bring the food to them. In the wild, they'll sleep standing up, but here they'll lie down to sleep because they're a bit older and they don't have full mobility in their legs. Despite this, they can get up on their feet in seconds, especially if they see any food. Once they get up, they make short work of their hay and water, eating and drinking their fill. Opal can pick up the food with her trunk and place it directly in her mouth, but Rosie needs to throw it up there. In addition to hay, we supplement their diet with a number of additives for nutritional and medicinal purposes. Now, this right here is one of their medications. There are a few different things in there. Actually, one ingredient is beet pulp, and that's for their digestive system. But there are a few other things in there as well, including chondroitin and glucosamine. As for drinking, Opal exemplifies the typical method of drinking for elephants, sucking up 2.5 gallons at a time in her trunk and spraying it into her mouth. Rosie needs to have the hose placed directly in her mouth to ensure she gets enough to drink. After this, it's time for them to go outside for the worst part of the day, cleaning out the barn. One of the hardest parts of taking care of an elephant is maintaining their feet, and as soon as they finish eating, it's time to get to work on that. Now this right here is an elephant's foot. Now you can see their stance is not like ours. It's something called a digitigrade stance, where they're up on their toes, whereas we have what's called a plantigrade stance on the balls of our feet. The bottoms of their feet have a tough pad called a slipper that we have to take care of, and we need to maintain their nails as well. We need to take care of their nails because they don't wear down the way they do naturally in the wild. Because of this, we have to use a set of tools called farrier's tools. Rasps help us file down the nails, and a hoof knife lets us remove unwanted or damaged tissue. You can think of this as an elephant pedicure. We also use foot soaks of Epsom salts and iodine to prevent and to treat infections. Once this is done, and they have a chance to finish up another bale of hay, it's time to take care of their skin. It is true that elephants have thick skin. After all, they, along with rhinos and hippos, are known as pachyderms, which literally means thick-skinned. In some places, like the knees, the skin can be more than 1 inch thick, but in other places, it's no thicker than ours. Just like us, they have to worry about sunburn and bug bites. Normally, they cover themselves in dirt and mud for protection, but it isn't always enough, especially for Rosie. Because of her trunk, she can't get the dirt up there. We have to help her with a little bit of our own sunscreen, SPF 50 in fact. We also have to help them out with the bugs. We spray them with a special blend of bug sprays that won't irritate their skin, and when a bug is particularly stubborn, they come to us for help. They'll walk up to the edge of the enclosure and point at the bugs to show us what they want us to do. Once we spot them, we'll help them by swatting the bugs with brooms. All sorts of other things can irritate an elephant's skin, so they are always looking for something to scratch and itch against. Sometimes we can help them out with long-handled brooms to reach their backs or scrubbing pads to get all the hard-to-reach areas, but there's nothing better for an elephant to rub up against than another elephant. By now, they've worked up quite the appetite, so it's time for another bale of hay and a fresh bucket of water. If it's a warm day, they'll be getting hot by now, and so after they drink their fill of water, they'll cool down by splashing on their backs. Opal's great at this and loves spraying herself as well as anyone who's standing too close, but Rosie needs a little extra help here too. We offer them both a spray down, aiming the hose at their feet so they can step back if they don't want it, but if they step forward, we turn the hose on full blast. Sometimes, by this time of day, Rosie will be taking a nap on her favorite sand pile, and in that case, we bring the hose to her. If she's not too tired, she'll stand up so that we can reach the other side as well. Once they're both wet, we'll follow up the water with a nice dust bath. Even though we shower them thoroughly every single day, they never stay clean for long. A happy elephant is a dirty elephant. Covering themselves in water and dirt isn't the only thing they do to cool off. They also use their ears to help radiate excess heat. The ears are full of blood vessels, and by shunting more blood into them, the elephants can cool off much faster. This is why the African elephant has evolved much bigger ears than the Asian elephant. It lives in a much hotter climate. After they cool off and have had a chance to get some more hay, it's time for their exercise, both physical and mental. To get them to exercise, we need two things, a target pole and treats. They know that if they touch the target as instructed, they will be rewarded, and so we can use it to get them to do all sorts of exercises. By holding it up, we get both of them to stretch their injured legs as far as they can, and we can help Rosie practice lifting her trunk. Think of it as elephant yoga. Walking around the enclosure with the target, we can induce them to get some walking in, which helps keep their joints in good shape.
Now you can see right here, she's demonstrating just how dexterous that trunk is, and you can see the way she uses the tip of that finger as an opposable digit.
As Asian elephants, Rosie and Opal only have one such finger, but African elephants have two. It's a muscular hydrostat, a structure lacking bones and containing more than 150,000 muscles. After we finish the target training, we walk them back and forth over large logs, forcing them to swing their legs through a full arc, which helps improve their maneuverability. We also have a number of activities that we do to keep their minds busy and healthy. One of the things that we do is called object differentiation, where they are instructed to touch specific objects based on our instructions. By forcing them to associate the verbal command with both a specific object and a specific gesture, we provide them with a stimulating challenge. Elephants are extremely smart animals, and as a result, their mental and emotional health is very important. Since they're such food-motivated animals, activities that allow them to work for their food provide them with a great deal of entertainment. For their hay, this can be accomplished by placing it in a cargo net, encouraging them to slowly work it out bit by bit.
And this right here is one of Opal's favorite toys. It's a ball with holes cut in it, and it's filled with carrots and other treats. And you can see the reason we have to fill it with food is that that's really the only way to keep an elephant interested.
Elephants live in these complex matriarchal herds with very intricate social relationships, and so we have to manage them not just as individuals, but also help manage the interactions between them. Not only are they among the only animals that can recognize themselves in a mirror, but they are also tool formers and tool users, modifying sticks to meet their needs, whether that's digging up a tasty root or scratching an itch. With their exercise completed, it's time for them to receive their medical treatments, but only after, you guessed it, some more hay.
Now we have a wide range of therapies that we use for them. We do hydrotherapy on them, we do therapeutic ultrasound. We have a therapy called shortwave diathermy, where we actually heat up their joints from the inside out using radio waves. And we also do several times every week acupuncture on them.
We administer therapeutic ultrasound to their feet, helping to minimize scar tissue and inflammation. By now, we're almost at the end of the day, and it's time for the girls to go back inside, something they'll indicate by standing at the door to the barn and waiting for us to open it. Once inside, it's time for a few more bales of hay and a few more gallons of water, until they lie down and go to bed, no earlier than 11 p.m. So that's what goes into taking care of an elephant for a day, and as you can see, it's a lot of hard work. Given that, you might be thinking that being an elephant handler must suck. After all, you work long days with an unpredictable schedule. There's constant maintenance that has to be done, repairing the damage done by the weather and by these 5-ton animals. It is a ceaseless onslaught of tasks that are both physically and mentally exhausting. Despite all of this, it is one of the most amazing opportunities available. Regardless of how much time I get to spend with them, I remain awed by the magnificence of elephants, their grace, beauty, intelligence, and significance to the world in which we live. So now you know that not only is it a tough job, but a rewarding one too. After all, who else gets to spend day after day in the presence of these amazing animals? Unfortunately, while these two elephants and plenty of others like them are cared for by dedicated individuals around the country, not all elephants have it so good. Elephants are an endangered species, with only 300,000 African elephants and 30,000 Asian elephants left in the world. The African elephants are being hunted down for their tusks, with more than 90 elephants killed by poachers every day. Asian elephants face habitat loss, with the growth of new cities and infrastructure shrinking their available habitat bit by bit every day. If nothing is done, both species could soon reach a point where extinction is unavoidable. If you want to be able to see these unique creatures continue to roam the earth and allow your children to see them as well, take action. You don't have to get up at 6 every morning and shovel up after an elephant, but that doesn't mean there's nothing you can do either.